You build up a tolerance, and once you have a high enough tolerance, I mean, you actually need more to feel the same high, and you do develop that tolerance, and you will still be totally capable of moving around and doing things where somebody, like if I injected that amount of heroin, it would definitely kill me.
Oh, yeah.
But if I'd been doing heroin for 10 years in an incrementally increasing amount, I would probably, you just don't hit a ceiling.
Any drug.
Not any drug,
Well,
but
a
heroin,
lot of drugs.
Opiates specifically, that is the case. And actually, their interviews were $400 worth of heroin a day.
Wow.
Which is a lot of heroin.
Holy crap.
I think that's from the... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, Tom Grant, the private investigator, he continually has made the point that he would have been totally incapacitated immediately.
He would have, yeah, absolutely.
He would have had, no time to, pick up the shotgun.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Tom Grant would have been
Yeah, he would have been.
incapacitated. Cobain, I don't think he would have.
No. Long-time user.
He had 1.5 milligrams per liter of heroin was reported to be in his body.
And
I actually asked...
It's important, though, for everybody to understand, he's injecting.
Yeah, he's injecting.
It's intravenous use.
Yes.
Intravenous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I still can't say that word.
And I actually
shooting up.
checked with a couple of our experts, and they all agreed. They were all in medical professions. They all have seen cases of heavy heroin use, and they all agreed that it's totally reasonable to expect that somebody with a high tolerance would be totally capable of moving around and doing things with that amount of heroin in their body. And I should also mention that it's not like we're saying, and then Cobain got up and ran a marathon. We're talking about, could he have rolled down his sleeve, put his paraphernalia away, and pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't
Absolutely.
have taken much time.
You can crawl while you're doing that, right? It's small movements.
Well, and that would indicate the weirdo writing that is on the note that everybody looks at.
It would also help explain that, yeah. But you'll see in Soaked in Bleach, the team maintains that there was a study that was done, quote unquote a study that was done, where there's a picture of a guy who's standing on one leg, and doctors say, well, he took the equivalent of methadone tabs that Cobain had in his body, and look at, he's standing on one foot, he's totally fine. And the Soaked in Bleach team says, but no, it's methadone, so it's less, and it was tabs. He took it as a pill. He didn't inject it, so that's not admissible. But I think anecdotal evidence from the health people that we talk to, who are all named Stephanie, Corey, and Lisa, they all agreed. Absolutely. Yeah, no question. Somebody with that amount of heroin in their body could totally
And
move around.
that's the reason that I was asking earlier, though, about his... if we knew if he had used during that week after the intervention, and then if he had used just before he got to the rehab clinic. And we also don't know if he was using while he was in Seattle before he did that.
Confident that,
Sure he did.
after
okay.
April 1st, he was on a bender.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but it does make you wonder, because we've all seen those cases of where somebody who did something to excess took a certain amount of time off, their tolerance dropped a little bit, and then they went right back to their old ways, and that's what put them in the ground.
But I don't know that. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know how long you have to be off it before the tolerance goes away. I don't think 2 days off of
I don't think so
heroin
either.
would.
Well, that's why I was
go
wondering
away.
about if he had stopped after the intervention forward, and so then that would be a week and a half-ish, which again, I don't think is a whole lot, but your body does slowly heal itself from the damage that you intentionally do to it.
Yeah. He also had Valium in his bloodstream.
He did.
Diazepam?
Diazepam, which is
Yeah.
Valium.
Yeah, same
right?
thing,
Yeah.
And I don't know where he got that.
Courtney Love's prescription, probably.
Yeah,
Well, I
she
don't
took
know.
a Valium, remember?
Yeah.
Well, but I don't know if he got that from the clinic or if he got it from his drug dealer or where he got it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
I think he probably got it from the medicine cabinet in the bathroom.
probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
The other fun fact, I guess not a fun fact, but the other interesting fact about him is that if you notice, I don't know if either of you noticed this in the photos, he's wearing a Tom Peterson watch.
Is he? And you mean the death scene photos?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Tom. Tom
Oh, yeah,
Peterson
Tom
and Gloria
Peterson.
too.
Tom Peterson. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a Tom Peterson watch. For anybody who doesn't know, Tom Peterson had a chain of stores in the Pacific Northwest,
Furniture stores.
and and he tried to get into electronics, but it's his head is always showed at these gigantic proportions. It's this weird black and white photo style, really recognizable.
That's a bummer.
But when you see in one of the photos that they released, he's wearing a Tom
I
Peterson
didn't notice
watch.
that. I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah, if you want to see Tom Peterson, rent Drugstore Cowboy. Seriously, he's in
I
Drugstore
know,
Cowboy.
he got into a couple of movies.
And then he also was in My Own Private Idaho. He's got a bit part as, I think, the chief of police.
Oh.
And I don't think he even says any words. But
He just stands there.
But have you seen My Own Private Idaho?
It's been a million years.
Yeah. So if
Just like the length of this episode.
exactly. But if you watch My Own Private Idaho, he plays the chief of police.
Okay, there you go.
All right, that's Tom Peterson.
And Gloria too. The other thing I want to talk about is the note, and I really don't want to talk about it for very long. But this suicide note was addressed to Cobain's imaginary friend, Bada. Did you guys watch Kurt and Courtney?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I legitimately cried when his aunt played the recordings of him as a 2-year-old talking to Bada, because that's so sad. I can't imagine going through something like that.
I didn't cry, but it does make you feel just a twinge of sadness.
Yeah.
It's just, here's this guy that's dead so young, and here he is as a little kid, with his whole life ahead of him and all that. Oh.
He's talking about Bada, his imaginary friend Bada. We're not going to read the letter.
No.
It's long, and it's very easy to find. I just wanted to say that I do agree that the note looks odd, but I think there are a lot of ways to explain that. I will agree also that the bulk of the note sounds like Cobain was just writing to his fans. He used to do that. I don't know if either of you guys have ever seen this, but he used to write letters to the fan club. Literally write handwritten notes and then photocopy them and send them to all of the fans of Nirvana.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he would do newsletters. He was basically running his own fan
He's making a
club.
zine.
Yeah, not really a zine. It was literally just notes, but he called them newsletters. And so that was the sort of thing he would do in the beginning, and I think he probably didn't do it as much. I don't know, frankly, if he did it in the middle times. But to me, the bulk of the note, the main body of it, does sound like, it reads exactly like the way he wrote to his fans. It sounds like he is writing to his fans saying, listen, Nirvana is no more, basically, or I'm not going to be in music anymore. And then, it's true that it's not really until the last couple lines that it sounds like, to me, a suicide note.
It suddenly changes in tone a little bit.
It definitely does. Yeah, it's just this letter that sounds like he's writing to his fans, and then suddenly it's I love you, keep going.
You're better off without me.
And it's in,
world.
slightly different looking handwriting, although it
larger
still looks like
letters.
it's his handwriting.
But, I've seen other things that Cobain wrote, and it's very similar. I see other ones where it's 90% kind of tiny, and then at the bottom it gets real big, and that's, I don't know if that's the heroin kicking in, or,
Yeah, I have no idea.
or if it's just larger letters for emphasis.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Rosemary Carroll, who you'll remember is a lawyer, claims to have found a handwriting sample in a bag that Courtney Love left at her house.
What was she doing rooting around in the bag?
She left it there for weeks apparently, so she went through it. I don't know. Again, it's hard to tell, but it looked like they could have traced.
It's a practice sheet.
It looks like a practice sheet.
For anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's where you copy somebody else's letters and then practice writing them to look like it's in their handwriting.
But frankly,
that's what a practice sheet is.
Yes.
Whether this is or is not, that's what it's called. So that is what a practice sheet is.
Yeah, and I've never seen a picture of this alleged practice sheet, so I don't know.
I saw a picture of it somewhere.
Soaked
I can't
in bleach.
remember where.
No,
There's
you
a-
saw
there's an
a
image of it.
recreation of it in Soaked
Maybe
in
that's
Bleach.
okay.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
I don't know. I can't find it online anywhere. It seems like that's the sort of thing that you would post everywhere. If
Well,
you were
if Tom Grant has it though.
Yeah, but I don't know if he does actually or not.
Okay, well, I was under the impression that Tom Grant had it, and if Tom Grant has it, there is no way under God's green earth he's going to let that thing out on the internet, because then he can't, this is his cash cow.
Yeah, that's
True
true.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
But as far as if Courtney was learning to imitate his writing, it could have been for other reasons. other than forging a suicide note.
Well, she forged some stuff in his name before.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, no,
mean
I
suicide
agree
note
with
was a
that.
Forgery.
And then I do want to point out that when Grant tells people that quote unquote handwriting experts have said that the last bit looks different, what he really means is that the quality of the scan that he, in his own words, tricked Love out of having is too low quality for anybody to be able to actually accurately analyze it.
He used a fax machine, didn't he?
He did. He
Oh,
told
bad.
Courtney that he was gonna just look at it with his glasses on and then stole it from her. Which is kind of shady in its own right. I agree. Both of them were not.
Shady, but I don't blame him. I would have
Yeah, I
done
don't
the
either.
same thing.
I'm sorry, but if I don't call foul on that at all.
No, I don't
She
really
was
call foul
being
either. I just
very
it's like
strange.
a little shady. But like I said, both of them acting not the best. But the copy that he has, which is the only copy that really exists right now, Courtney obviously isn't about to release the original. Anybody who looks at it can't actually analyze it. So worth mentioning. Okay.
Okay.
But
So if-
Courtney does have the original, right?
She reportedly, yeah,
The police didn't take it?
No, she got it back.
she has it. Yeah,
Because, I mean, that's how Grant got a copy of it.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, if he was murdered, who did it? Well, obviously, like, Courtney would have ordered it, right?
I think she would have overpowered him.
That's the theory is like, Courtney paid somebody to kill Kurt.
Rather than doing it through the sheer force of her own will.
Yeah.
Well, plus Courtney was still in L.A., right?
Yeah. So, here are some answers to who might have killed Kurt Cobain. One is a guy by the name of Alan Wrench. This theory
Great name.
you will probably know more by a guy named El Duce.
Was it El Duce or El Deuce?
It's El
Duce.
Duce,
El Duce?
which is a total gag. I mean, it's not his real name,
No,
but
his
it's
real
also
name.
a made-up play on another word that is a hygiene product. I mean, it's this guy's band did some really weird stuff, and I know that's where that.
Yeah, we're gonna
came
talk
from.
about his.
Yeah,
name
I just
actually
know
in
this
a
guy is
second.
super skeezy.
So
Yeah.
the way that we know about this guy, whose real name is Eldon Hoke, was because this filmmaker we were talking about earlier, Nick Broomfield, who did the documentary Kurt and Courtney, he found this guy through like a really shady, weird. He was like talking to two dudes, one of whom refused to show his face on camera.
Oh yeah,
And they were like gonna help him break into where Courtney was recording so they could get an interview, and like it was really, really kind of like weird stuff.
do-
Yeah, they were paparazzi types. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they said, "Oh, actually, we know this guy who says that Courtney offered to pay him money, so like let's go down there and just see him."
Offered to pay him money to kill
To kill Cobain,
Cobain.
yeah. And his name was El Duce. Again, not his real name. He was the lead singer of a band called The Mentors, and he was also totally a drunk. When Broomfield interviewed him at his property in California, he was super drunk.
Oh, he was so loaded.
He was so loaded, in fact, that he offered to provide more information if they got him some more beer. That's how drunk he was. But he, like, $50,000 to kill Cobain. He said he turned it down, but that his friend, quote, Alan, had done it. I've done some digging, and the guy that he's talking about is apparently a guy called Alan Wrench, which probably is not this guy's real name.
I would.
Who used to play for a band called Road Whore, which basically didn't exist, or at least I literally can't find any bit of it online. Either way, I've read a few things about this, mostly on Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt, please, where somebody on Reddit claims to have been friends with both El Duce and Alan. And this user claims that El Duce would never hurt anybody for money, but that Alan was a jerk and would totally kill somebody.
Well, there we go. Concrete evidence.
Well, okay, so
It
actually
was
the reason...
Alan Wrench who was sent by IKEA because he was the wrong size for the piece of furniture that somebody bought.
Well, so
There you go.
here's the thing. Nobody would give this guy even like a moment's thought, except for that 2 days after El Duce gave his interview to Broomfield, he ended up dead by getting hit by a train.
It's like the Courtney Love killing machine strikes again.
So, I mean, that's kind of the big question mark. His death was ruled accidental by police. And apparently El Duce did have a track record of people needing to babysit him when he was when he was drunk, because he would do stupid things. But the train he was hit by was kind of near his house, so that makes sense. But in this Reddit thread, again, take it with a grain of salt, this guy says that El Duce was hanging out with a friend and other member of the Mentors,
Which is, by the way, their band.
Yeah, the band, called Sicky Wife Beater, which, really?
They have great names.
White Trash, all
Like
of
I said,
them,
yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty sure.
just skeezy guy.
Actually, White Trash, that's not fair to White Trash.
Actually, did you ever read any of the lyrics to some of their
No,
music?
I did not, because I didn't want to subject myself to it.
Holy hell!
Yeah, no,
it's
not interested.
terrible.
Yeah. So apparently Alan shows up when El Duce is hanging out with Sicky Wife Beater, and he was angry that El Duce had said some stuff on the movie. How he
2 days after the interview?
after he gave an interview, how he found out that El Duce had said those things, who knows? Doesn't really matter.
Dude, that's easy. That's the grapevine.
Yeah.
Have you?
Heard
I have
it
spent
through the
enough time
grapevine.
with drunks and folks of that ilk that the grapevine, people just sit around and they love to tell what other people did, and I can just see that getting back to, if this really happened. I'm not saying this is really happening, but I can see it very easily getting back to the guy lightning fast, and he coming over the next day and confronting him.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, the story goes that Alan shows up, he's annoyed, they leave together, and then
To go get beer.
morning,
To continue the interview.
yeah, and the next morning El Duce winds up hit by a train.
You know, I gotta tell you, if I was gonna murder somebody, getting him run over by a train without myself getting run over too, it just seems like a tough way to do it. It seems like there's easier ways.
Not if they're drunk.
I was gonna say no. Yeah, oh, the train track. Let's walk this way. Hey, come on, drunkie McGee. Look, there's Trainy McTrainface going by right now,
Yeah.
and shove.
Oh, you're getting sleepy? This is a great place for a nap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not nice. I don't really believe it. Although I will say it is, I guess, it's one of those things where it's it is a little weird
That's a little-
that 2
yeah.
days after he said he totally knew who killed Kurt Cobain and made it look like an accident or a suicide, he shows up dead by a mysterious getting hit by train accident.
That
But
is the internet's favorite kind of coincidence.
it is, yeah, and it's one of mine too, actually.
It's actually pretty cool, but
Yeah.
you would think that Alan Ranch would have gone and paid a visit to Nick Broomfield as cameraman too.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Except he didn't know how to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Well,
Broomfield
maybe.
was up and down the West Coast.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. So, one of the other people that could have done it, I guess, is the nanny Callie.
Oh, we're on our next suspect.
Yeah, I don't think Callie probably did it, but I guess there's something to be said of maybe they were getting high together. I don't really.
I was going to say this again. I was actually surprised that he is not as much of a suspect as he is. I really expected people to be like, I could totally see those two in the greenhouse using, and then something happening, and Callie being like, I gotta go. Oh crap!
Yeah.
I mean, I can see
Yeah.
this very easily being the case.
Yeah, but I just I don't know.
I can't see it myself.
I can't either, but I don't know anything about Callie.
Well, I don't know anything about Callie either, but I mean, I just know that I think Callie and what was the guy who bought the Dylan? Both of them, I think, they lived off of the Cobain money for a long time after Kurt was gone through Courtney.
Yeah.
I mean, she supported them, so I'm sure that if something happened and it was an accident, I could see him going, "Oh God, I just did this. Oh God, I am so screwed because I can't afford this much heroin and I have this great gig going on and I'm just going to walk out of the room." And I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So he was,
totally.
so he was playing with the shotgun and he blew Kurt's head off. And
Or they were screwing or arguing or whatever. I mean, because there is the letter that was left on the stairs that Tom
Callie,
Grant, from Callie, that Tom Grant says was a forgery of some kind. There's all kinds of machinations about it, but the point is he wrote a letter and it wasn't all that positive to Kurt, and he could have done that after the fact going, I was there, let's do this thing to direct suspicion away from me.
I guess
Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm playing both sides of the coin here.
Totally, absolutely. But I think like the problem I have with that is that it's totally reasonable for Callie to have found the body. You know, like if that happened, you like wait a day, right? And then you call the cops and you say, "Oh my God, I just found my employer's body."
That implies logical, rational,
Yeah, I guess that's
clean,
true. Sober thinking. You're right. That's true.
When you are using a lot,
we don't know that Callie was using it all.
Callie was totally on the team.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you hire a nanny for your daughter?
Because it's your friend who you want to help.
Or of Love, Courtney Love.
Yeah, and you want to help your friend, so you help your friend out and just say, use it while you're watching the kid. Your girlfriend can get high, but people do this kind of weird stuff all the time.
Yep.
Right.
So that's why I say that it's completely plausible.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here's just one more interesting thing before we start talking about maybe it was suicide. Courtney Love alleged that Kurt Cobain was having an affair. Specifically that he was having an affair with the bassist of Love's band, Hole, whose name was Kristen Pfaff. And at the very least, Pfaff and Cobain were very good friends. I don't know if they were having an affair or not, but I don't think we'll ever know. She, like almost everybody else in this entire story, had a pretty strong heroin addiction. She had gone to detox in February of 1994, and she was reportedly clean, but took Cobain's death really, really hard. As you can imagine, a close friend or potentially lover, who knows, dies in kind of a brutal, violent way. She quit Hole and decided to move back to Minneapolis, where she was originally from. She was living in Seattle at the time.
Well, that's where the grunge scene was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the heroin was.
That's where Hole was.
Yeah.
Hole all lived together.
Seattle is a hole. Maybe that's where Hole was, in Seattle.
Yeah. On June 16th, 1994, however, she was found dead of a heroin overdose in her apartment in Seattle.
So the Courtney Love killing machine strikes again.
Well, I mean, a lot of people do think this death was pretty suspicious. Even Pfaff's family feels that her death wasn't a suicide or an accidental overdose. They think there was some foul play involved. And
every time I hear about some junkie turning up dead of an overdose,
yeah, she had reportedly been like successfully clean for those months. And again, it's like she was in Seattle, she was with her friends, she was probably using again.
That's the same thing that I talked about before, though, is that if you're off of it for a while and you're like, hey, I can take 3 cc's, no problem.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't work.
And then that's what puts you in the ground.
I thought one website very eloquently put it that both Pfaff and Cobain were in the process of leaving Love.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, it's true.
That's very true.
They were both leaving her and standing in her way of a lot of success and money, basically. But that's, just one person's theory. Next up, let's talk a little bit about...
this is theory number 2.
This is theory number 2, suicide.
Theory header number 2.
Theory header number 2, suicide.
In this 18-hour episode.
Mm-hmm. In an interview, one of Cobain's friends, I gotta be honest, I do not recall which one, said that if Courtney Love didn't kill or have Cobain killed, that she drove him to it. And I don't really like Courtney Love very much. It may not be coming across, but I don't really like her very much. I think that she wanted a lot of things that Cobain did not want. I think she was really worried about the money in the relationship, the fame in the relationship. I think she wanted a lot of things and was trying to push him to do a lot of things that he didn't necessarily want to do. I mean, case in point, she really did not approve of him, like, canceling Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
She really did not.
That's a bunch of money there,
a lot of money. She really did not approve of him, like, not having Nirvana be a thing anymore.
I think that she was very controlling. I mean, I've heard her referred to as a harpy before, which I will not disagree to a point. Seems to be an accurate description of her behavior at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's her or the drugs or what, but I mean, it's easy to point the finger after the fact. It's the same thing as he was suicidal in Rome.
Yeah.
It's easy to say after the fact, look at how controlling she was and all these things she did that drove him to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's turn the coin which way you want it.
Well, I guess, one of the things I'll point out is that she hired a private detective to find Kurt.
And then played games.
And she stayed in LA. She knew Cobain was in Seattle, but she stayed in LA because she said she had business to take care of down there. If you really thought that your husband was like suicidal and like on a bender, if you knew in what city he was in, would you just be like, you know what, I'm just going to stay here though. I'm not going to go up there and see if I can find him.
Again, rational, sober thinking.
But also, she did hire a private detective. I mean, it's a certain amount of expense to go to try to track down your potentially suicidal husband.
She did. That's true. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's flip of the coin either way. I think it's likely that she wanted a lot from her life that Cobain didn't, and it does sound like they were in the process of... They were at least in a rough patch.
Didn't she try to get into movies after she
was in movies.
cleaned up?
She did at least one movie.
She did a couple. I thought she did one or two movies after she cleaned up.
Yeah.
I mean, she really was striving for that music
fortune.
Hollywood fame model. And so
And it sounds
obviously
like-
she had the aspirations for that.
And it sounds like Cobain really did not like that.
Oh,
at
no,
all.
he
wanted
did-
to live a totally different life. And so, who can say what causes somebody to kill themselves? But I'm not saying that she helped the situation at all.
But I'm not saying she's responsible
But I'm also
either.
not saying she's responsible either. Yeah, Cobain. So here's some we're just kind of listing off, reasons that he might have killed himself. Cobain had been apparently trying to get clean for a while. He'd gone to rehab and detox a number of times, and it had never stuck. So it's possible that he just hit a point where he was like, "This is never going to work. I'm going to live my life as an addict, and that's just dumb, and I don't want to do it." And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as that's something that I've read from people talking about
Their interpretation of his thought.
No. I mean, people who are in recovery saying, I hit a point in my life where I thought, this isn't worth living. I can't do this. I can't ever get clean, and it's not worth living if I can't get clean. And then trying to kill themselves, and obviously being unsuccessful, and eventually being successful in recovering. But that's a fairly common thought with very heavy addicts of certain things.
I could see that. You realize the necessity to get clean, but you realize at the same time it's like your life as a non-high person is just kind of like hell.
Well, it's that,
it's
it's that, or that you will never, if you've tried to get clean a number of times and it keeps not working, you may just think, it's never going to happen. I'm always going to be addicted to heroin. I may as well just kill myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's heroin's not the only addiction that people have that. I mean, addiction in general causes that reaction or that thought process.
And then I guess another thing to bring up, I know have been harping on he wasn't suicidal, they weren't suicide attempts. But you know what? Maybe he was. Maybe he actually did try to kill himself in Rome. Maybe he actually did try to kill himself in his house in Seattle on March 18th. But they were trying to cover it up.
Could be.
Because
did have a lot of handlers.
I mean, it's totally possible that he was suicidal and that at every turn, every attempt, there was just a PR push to say, no, he's not suicidal. These are all accidents. Because you don't, what publicist in this world is it's totally fine to tell everybody that my client is suicidal and, that's not good.
That's not
No.
good and fly.
So it's certainly possible. The police report did say, he said he wasn't suicidal, but maybe he realized that you don't tell a police officer I'm suicidal.
Yeah.
They will take you to jail. They'll lock you up. They'll put
take
you
you
under
to a mental health place.
Yeah, they will.
Well, here's why I'm sure Courtney Love did not murder him or have him murdered. And
she doesn't have the hand strength.
Well, yeah. I don't believe El Duce, who about the $50,000 offer or anything like that. And the thing about it is Courtney is the one who initiated the intervention to try to get him cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, if you're planning on murdering your husband, if you want him dead, why would you want to get him off heroin?
Yeah.
That'd be the last thing in the world you would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd been, and she was a druggie. She had good connections. Street heroin is 50-60% pure maybe at the most. And she probably had the connections to get some really super pure stuff. Mm-hmm. She could just, and maybe that's why he had so much in his veins. Maybe she did try to kill him. Maybe she got some super pure stuff swapped it in with his, and that's how he wound up with so much heroin in his system. But I think more likely he was planning on killing himself, and he thought he'd just go out on floating on the greatest high ever.
Yeah.
Is what I think he did.
Yeah.
But to see that, my problem is if he intended to do himself in, and he was gonna get high ahead of time, and it is very common knowledge that people can easily OD on heroin, then why bring the gun in? Why not just go, you know what, I'm just going to keep pushing the plunger down until I don't wake up again. And I still move my hand, and then I'm going to keep going. I mean, that just seems...
Because it's not certain.
And it's also not dramatic.